Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth Newsom and welcome to my BookTube channel. Today I'm going to share with you 14 money saving hacks for college. So you might notice that I'm in Coleman's room, but Coleman is not here. I told him about today's video and he's like, yeah, I don't think I'll have a lot of advice for that one, but that's okay because I've studied finances a lot, and I'm by no means an expert. My major is marketing, so not finances or economics or accounting. But with that said, I have taken a personal finances class, and I've done just a lot of research and reading about the subject. Personal finances is really important, and college is kind of an opportunity where you get to make real money and completely manage your money on your own. But also, you don't have all of the responsibilities that you would out of college. I like to call college adulting in a playpen. So it's a wonderful opportunity to get your personal finances on track. And also in college, you don't have a lot of money anyway, so managing it well is really important. First of all, scholarships. If you're going to college and you want to save money, you really need a scholarship. And you might think that that's not possible for you, or that you're not smart enough, whatever. So first of all, local scholarships are really easy to get. Just look at local high schools on their websites. Usually they'll have a list of local scholarships you can apply for. But the best way to get a scholarship is through a phenomenal SAT score. I was homeschooled, so my GPA wasn't really a big deal, but I got my full scholarship through my SAT score, which was a 1530, and I studied 7 months for that. And again, that sounds like a lot. That sounds really extreme, but think about it. This is the one point in your life where you're going to have this opportunity to take this test and make a huge impact on your college life. In fact, you could just pay for all of college if you do well enough at the SAT. So wouldn't you kind of want to obsess over it? So I studied it a lot, and actually I broke down the hours and how much my scholarship is worth. And if you look at it that way, I was making over $500 per hour that I was studying for the SAT. That's insane. You're not going to make $500 per hour at anything right now. So it pays off so much better than trying to work through college or trying to save up for college. Literally, the best solution to pay for college. The next thing you can do is to get a part-time job during college. Even though I'm on a full scholarship, I still want to have some money and some savings after college. And for part-time jobs, you have a few options. So, tip number 3 is to get an online job. Online jobs are really flexible. I have one right now with Google, and if you don't know where to get an online job or how to get hired by Google, just search Appen Connect on Google and you'll find this website where you can apply. They accept most anyone, and then there are different tasks that you can apply for that pay so much per task or so much per hour. But it's really great because, first of all, online jobs tend to be very flexible. Also, they save you money as far as gas money is concerned, and then of course the time driving to your job would take. With that said, another really great way to save on gas money for your job is to have an on-campus job. You'll find a lot of opportunities on campus, and some of those opportunities will look really good on your resume. For example, I have a marketing internship job. It pays really well. It's on campus. It's related to my major, which is marketing, and it's honestly like best job I could ask for. And even if you can't find an internship like that that pays well, a lot of times you'll find various IT or tutoring jobs on campus that people really want students to do. And your 5th option is to donate plasma. So not exactly a job you can put on your resume like, hey, I had a lot of plasma and I sold it for money. But it's an incredibly efficient way to earn money. I don't know, you probably can't see. I have little scar right here. It's almost healed. I need to get another. I'm donating more tomorrow. And then, okay, not to scare you, this one kind of bruised a bit, but it's really not that bad, and they've been healing pretty well. So far, I've had 2 donations from each arm, so 4 total, and a lot of times for beginners, they'll offer really good deals. Right now, the deal I'm on offers $70 or $80 for the first 8 times I do it. So this month I'm going to earn $600 by donating 8 times. $600 is a lot of extra money. And I know some people are kind of wary of needles, which I understand. I passed out after my meningitis shot, so I 100% understand. But you're laying down the whole time, and it's really hard to pass out when you're not standing up. In addition, you just don't care as much after the third or fourth time. It's easier each time. So again, not a huge deal. And it's not something I'd want to do all the time, just personally, but again, they give crazy beginner coupons where you could get several $100s, so I definitely recommend looking into that as a way to earn money. Tip number 6 is to max out your 401k. You might not have a 401k, but it's worth looking into. I actually have a 401k, and I think right now my donation rate is 3%, but my company actually matches it for up to 6%. So I would max out your 401k as far as what you can get the company to match you for. And it's, again, not everyone's going to offer that, especially if you work at McDonald's or something like that. But if you do have a 401k, I'd try to max it out and get the company to match it as much as possible, because that's automatically doubling your money without taking into account any sort of interest that you would accrue over time. Number 7 is to have a handwritten budget. So what I like to do is I have a certain amount in dollars for what I want to spend on different things. For gas, I usually have about $30 a month, because when I'm on campus, I don't go a lot of places. For entertainment and dining and eating out and hanging out with friends, I might have $100, $120 per month. And so whenever I spend something, I'll keep track of the receipt, or I'll just look at my statement on my credit card or on my bank statement, and then I'll write down the amount, and then I'll add them up and see how much I have left for each portion of my budget. And this is a tip I got from Dave Ramsey, but I'd also recommend redoing your handwritten budget on a month-by-month basis, because months are just going to look different. For example, this month I had a prom ticket I was looking at paying for before it was canceled. I also had an anniversary dinner that I wanted to budget for. And then this upcoming month, I have to budget for contacts because I really want to buy those. And contact solution, I need to buy more lactase pills. So since every month looks differently, it's worth rebudgeting every month. Tip number 8 is to use Mint, which is also a budgeting app. I like to use both in conjunction. What Mint does is if you tie in your different cards and then your bank accounts, you get this little pie chart of how much you spend. And you can also set goals for how much you want to spend each month. So I do like doing that and kind of looking back and seeing how much I've made in a month or what areas I'm spending on. But again, I really like to be mindful of each dollar I spend, and the best way to do that is through a handwritten budget. My next tip is to have 10% go to tithe or charity. If you don't have a church, have 10% go to savings and have another 10% go toward investing. So traditionally what I usually do is 10% savings, 10% tithe, but I've recently gotten into investing, so now I contribute overall 20% to my financial goals, because of course doing well financially is really important to me. So if you're in college and you have things covered, I would recommend at minimum doing 10% for your financial goals, and if you can, go up to 20% for those goals. And as far as savings would go, my next tip is to use a money market account or an online savings account. The only difference between a money market account and an online savings account with a high APY is a money market account technically allows you to write checks, which isn't a big deal. But with a little research, you'll find so many different savings accounts that have no fees, no minimum amount, and they have really great interest rates. They used to be better before now, because interest rates have kind of tanked lately with the economy, but they're still a lot higher than inflation, which means that you're not only making sure your money doesn't depreciate, but you're earning money. So you can find savings accounts with up to 1.3% APY, which is annual percentage rate. And normal banks have an interest rate for savings of about 0.05%. So again, that's a huge difference. And for investing, I'd highly recommend using M1 if you're not sure about what to invest in. Like, of course you can do research. It's not a big deal. But you can also do things like M1 has all these different different types of portfolios recommended by their experts. They're like, oh, if you're moderately risky or moderately aggressive in your investment tactics, then you can use this portfolio, which is what I do. Actually, I'll just show you. So you can see I have about 3/4 of moderately aggressive, and then all of these, that's about 25 to 27% just individual stocks and various things. My parents did a lot of research on some of the best stocks to invest in based on expert opinions, based on like this certain formula, and based on worldview. So I have things like Southwest. I've invested quite a bit in Southwest just because they're down so much, and I have a hunch they'll go back up. PayPal, Applied Materials, Microsoft, Abbott Laboratories, Lowe's, Euronet Worldwide. So some things I've heard of, some things I haven't heard of. I just know from other people's research that they look like good investments. And overall, the economy keeps getting better, and again, we might have another dip, but I invested in April, and again, it was really hard to make a bad investment in April just because things had completely gone down in March, so everything was going back up. So of course I'm up about 10% right now, which I'm pretty happy with. And the things you should know about stocks is it seems like it's really risky, but on average the stock market gains about 8% per year. So all you have to do is make that average and then invest for a long period of time. If you have to invest in stocks for 3 months and then you pull it out, yeah, that's extremely risky. But if you leave it in and you don't need access to it for several decades, which is what I intend, then you can afford to be quite a bit more risky than other people, because just again, over a long period of time, it'll average out where you're going to gain. And why I would recommend using M1 over, say, Robinhood is just because it's really easy to sign up for. I know my brother had trouble signing up with Robinhood because he's a college student, so he doesn't have things to prove residence like a utility bill. So M1 is just really easy, really simple, and I know they offer IRAs if you're interested in getting into that. Another thing you should do is have an emergency savings account of about $1,000 in case like your tire blows out or you need to have car repairs. I don't know why I'm thinking car repairs. But anyway, sometimes surprise expenses pop up and you don't want to use a credit card and borrow for those because credit card rates are crazy. There's just so much interest you have to pay if you don't pay it all off within that month. And I'm not paying that much interest. So the way to avoid that is to have an emergency savings account. And you can have your emergency savings account online and have it earning like a bunch of interest for you. So your emergency savings account can be there for peace of mind, but it can also be working for you. With that said, my next tip is to definitely use a credit card, just because more than likely you'll need a credit score at some point in the future, either for insurance purposes or maybe a mortgage or buying a car, although ideally it's nice to pay for things in cash. I was so scared of using a credit card for so long, and I know some people recommend not using a credit card at all, but if you are very smart, actually not even that smart, if you're just disciplined and you use common sense, then it's really easy to benefit from credit cards. So for your first credit card, you'll either have to have a student credit card, you'll have to have a credit card where your parents are co-signing or that's technically attached to their bank account, or your third option is to have a secured credit card. So with a secured credit card, you make an initial deposit. For example, I chose $500, so I gave them $500 of my money. And so my credit limit is $500. If I ever spend $500 and then I can't pay it off, then what they do is they use my deposit to pay it off. This is because I have no credit score, so it's kind of risky to have me have a credit card. And eventually I get that secured deposit back after a while, and they'll upgrade me from a secured card to an unsecured card, which is just like a normal credit card. So I would recommend finding a good credit card with rewards and then paying it off in full every single month. So my credit card gets 2% back on restaurants and gas, which are a fairly decent portion of my budget because I like to hang out with friends and eat out, and then I need gas every month. and then 1% on everything else. So with every purchase I make, I'm not only gaining the object I'm buying, but I'm also gaining some of my money back, which is super great. The caveat is that you do have to pay it off in full every month. You cannot do the minimum payment and then let it roll over, because then you have more interest that way. Just spend it like you would a debit card, and only spend what you have in your checking account and pay it off immediately. My next tip is to not go above 30% of your credit limit. So what a lot of people don't know is that your credit utilization is a factor in your credit score. So people know things like payment history really matters, how consistently you make your payments, how many lines of credit you have open, how long you've been using credit. But they don't know that you need to make sure not to use close to your credit limit. For example, my limit is $500. With that said, I can spend $500, but I should not to, because that'll hurt my credit score. And their thinking is that, oh, like if you have to borrow more money, you're kind of riskier or more desperate or irresponsible, which isn't necessarily true. But again, that's what they have to go off of. So I try to stick to about 30%, if not lower. Something I like to do for fun is every time I buy something on my credit card, just to go to the Discover app and then pay it off immediately right there. I do have automatic payments set up once a month to pay it in full, so I'll never have any rollover. But I like to pay it off myself just to keep my credit amount available as high as possible, because that'll help my credit score. Well, there you guys have my 14 money hacks for college students. I hope you learned something new about making more money and spending it smarter. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, because I post one video a week. A lot of times it's geared towards college students or just general life advice. And as always, I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know about some of the best money advice you've heard of, or some of the biggest money mistakes that you've made. So, let me know down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!